Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern, Ned Reynolds in the studio. It's Tuesday, and we're talking sports. So Missouri State obviously out of the NCAA tournament. Regionals going on still. We've got Oklahoma State and Arkansas yesterday in Stillwater. Did the Razorbacks win that game or the Cowboys?
No, Razorbacks. Razorbacks won it 7-3, so they win that regional. Looked to me watching the game that Oklahoma State, this is probably a false impression, but it looked to me like they were out of gas.
You look at what they did with the Bears and all those. Those are very high-scoring games, but it still will gash you.
Well, they had to come from behind to win against Arkansas on Saturday. Actually, come from behind to win over the Arkansas Razorbacks. That was on Saturday. Had to play the 29-15 game with the Bears. Had to come back and play again
that same
and come
day.
From behind that same day. And then last night, they had it 7-3. The Razorbacks won the game. And Arkansas is a good team. They're a very good team. They're nationally ranked. So they are the ones that go now to the Super Regional. And because they did not bid for a Super Regional, Oklahoma State did, and it would have been there in Stillwater had they won. But instead, Arkansas goes to Chapel Hill. North Carolina plays the Tar Heels in a best-of-3 coming up this weekend. The winner of that one on to the College World Series in Omaha, one of the elite 8 college baseball teams in the country.
So let's get back to the Missouri State Bears. They, had a bunch of hills to climb this season, injuries, problems, whatever, not clicking. Do you think that this is a good start of something for the future, or do you think it's a rebuilding year? What are your thoughts on this?
I think they deserve a gold star for being there. They should not really have been in the tournament. The final record for the season is 31-29, 31 wins, 29 losses. That's not really tournament caliber. But Coach Gutton, Coach Evans, Coach Hawkins, they put this team together and held them together, and that's the key right there. When you can do that, eventually, the Bears began to regain some of their health toward the end of the season, and somehow, someway, they won that Missouri Valley tournament and got into the regionals and then made some noise in the regionals. You saw what they did. They had 31 home runs in the last 9 games of the season, 110 for the year. A lot of power, but the component parts weren't there. The pitching was compromised all year long with injuries and things like that. But my hat's off to them, and I give them an A+. This, by them, I'm talking about the entire program, coaches and team. A+ for even being there in the first place. And with some good recruiting and maybe with some arms coming in next year, could be a very good team.
And you know what? That is a compliment. Ned Reynolds does not give out A+ very often.
Not often. No.
Let me ask you this. Do they have got a bunch of guys coming back for next year?
They have a pretty good nucleus returning, but they do have some holes to fill. And you have to remember now, some of these players are eligible for the Major League Draft.
Yep.
Those are players who have college eligibility left. Furthermore, there's the transfer portal. There's so many variables involved here that Coach Gutton will have to be out scouting new talent, and he will be.
He's probably out on his way this morning somewhere. All right, so it's hard to imagine lush golf greens in the middle of the desert in Saudi Arabia, but it turns out there's a Saudi Arabian golf tour that's happening, and you think this is a threat to the PGA?
I do. It's called the LIV Golf Tour, LIV. LIV is an international investment firm, and this, of course, is the golf investment portion of it. But the LIV International Tour is backed by, as you mentioned, the Saudi Arabian government, who has ingested $400 million into making this thing work, and it's a 10-year commitment. Now, right now, it's not a threat. It's an annoyance because there are some players from the PGA Tour who are competing. Their first tournament, this LIV first tournament, is this weekend. It's in London. It's 54 holes, and there's no cuts, nothing like that. You play and you get paid for it. Well, you've got guys like Phil Mickelson, who's competing, Louis Oosthuizen, Kevin Na, Dustin Johnson has gone over to compete in, and what they've done is they've said, I'm going to play in the Canadian Open. That's the PGA event. Let's try this one. There are 8 tournaments this year. The first one's in London. The vast majority will be in this country. They will play in places like Oregon.
So no golf courses in the desert then?
Well, at the moment, no, but the championship at the end of the year in November hasn't been decided yet. And there are golf courses there in the Saudi Arabian area, not necessarily in that particular country, but there are, in fact, Dubai and places like
I'm
that.
sure
they have
in
golf
some
courses
Dubai.
there. But over and above all that, is it a threat? Not immediately, but I can see where it will be if they continue to build on this and continue to purge golfers from the PGA.
So typically, most baseball teams take Monday off. Not the Kansas City Royals, though. They were the only pro baseball team, well, along with their opponent playing yesterday.
Royals and the Toronto Blue Jays up at Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. This poor Kansas City team, I'm absolutely stumped as to what their problem is. They have offense on this team, and yet they can't hit. Managed 2 hits last night, both by the same guy, Michael Taylor, and the Toronto Blue Jays win 8-0. Kansas City is really in a dreadful slump. 17-37, that's their record. 17 wins, 37 losses. Worst in Major League Baseball. They are not the worst team. I don't know what's happened here, but they have fallen apart completely, and I wonder about their give-a-darn attitude, whether or not, hey, they're 20 games under 500 now.
Well, that starts at the top, if that's the case.
Right there, well, you take a look at that, but the manager can't get out there and play. He's got to do and perform with the horses that he has, and they aren't performing. It just is not coming through, so yeah, I'm afraid something's going to happen with that front office and with the managers and the coaching staff, and so they already fired the hitting coach a couple weeks ago. But they can't get it done. 8-0, Toronto wins. They'll play again tonight, and the Cardinals will go on to play the Tampa Bay Rays tonight down in Florida. And the Springfield Cardinals will be in Midland, Odessa, Texas. And they're playing the Midland Rockhounds. It's the Oakland A's AA Farm Club.
Well, a lot of action today, and we'll have everything to talk about tomorrow from those games. Big news in the NFL. Aaron Donald and the LA Rams finally came to an agreement on his new contract, and I got to say it. He got paid, and he's worth every penny. He
is now the richest non-quarterback in NFL history. Think about that now. He has signed, or will sign today, a contract that's going to call for $65 million guaranteed over 2 years until 2024, and then guaranteed $95 million in 2025. That's what he's getting. This is pretty doggone good. Aaron Donald's worth it. He's a really tremendous ball player. He is the heart and soul of Los Angeles Rams defense, and he's one of the key reasons why they are the reigning world champions, the Super Bowl champs. So, yeah, they need him. He wants to be there. That's where he wants to play. And this big kid who played his college football at Pitt is now going to be a very wealthy individual and probably a very tough one to stop.
And like you said, defense wins championships,
yes.
And that's why you pay these guys what they're due. I was having a conversation with my buddy from Boston yesterday. I said, how'd you feel about that game Sunday? And you know what he said? He goes, I'm just really frustrated because there are just so many no calls happening. And I know we kind of talked about this a little bit, but he made a case that, Golden State's got a guy that's literally tackling people and not getting called. Your thoughts on that?
That's Draymond Green, and
yeah,
he is their enforcer. That's what they call them in the NBA. But yeah, the game has adopted a new philosophy, and that is let them play. Well, they are more than letting them play. They are absolutely mugging each other out on the court. There's going to be something very serious happen if they don't really crack down and start calling some fouls here along the line. But the officials don't want to be accused of controlling the game. Hey, we just fouled this guy and so forth. It's subjective, of course. If the official sees it, that's what he calls. But wish they would kind of homogenize the game to where you have individuals playing within the true spirit of the game, and that was no contact. Well, that went out years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, you're beating the devil out of these guys.
Do you think, and his thought was that Silver's trying to force a Game 7. Do you think that's what's going on?
No, I don't think that happens. I can understand the philosophy behind that because several years ago I thought the same thing, but I don't think there's any way you can do that. The media is so entrenched in covering these games, and there's so many media outlets. I don't think something like that could get away and not be known about it by the public. It's just my opinion. I don't think so.
Hey, man, I'll just give you 3 letters. UFO. All right, Ned, last but not least, any team clinched a trip to the finals in the Stanley Cup?
They have. The Colorado Avalanche completed it last night. They were behind the Edmonton Oilers. They're a better team than Edmonton. But leading 3-0, 3-0 in games. They went in last night up in Edmonton. Oilers got the lead. The Avalanche came back. Oilers got the lead again, and the Avalanche came back, forced it into overtime, and won it 6-5 in overtime. These have been high-scoring games. But Colorado wins that series 4-0. They are in. They can sit back now, relax a little bit, and heal some of those bumps and bruises while the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning fight things out in the East. They've got a while to go before
they do.
happens.
And that one's going to be a tough series. All right, Ned, you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.